Ruben Amorim has spoken out for the first time since being confirmed as the new Manchester United head coach. He said, "There is no sporting fan who wanted me to stay until the end of the season more than I did, but it wasn't possible. Some people say it's for the money. It's not. Other clubs were prepared to pay 3 times more, and I refuse. This club, Manchester United, is what I wanted." Wow. What a quote. We're going to dive into Amorim's interview, everything that he said. We're going to speak about Shocker, some news on that, potential transfers under Amorim, the news on that. And also Ten Hag has wrote a letter addressing Manchester United fans as well. So we're going to get into all of this in today's video. But before I get into the rest of his interview, I want to come back to this because this was my favourite part of the full interview. He was saying there was a club that offered him more money, but he rejected them. He wanted Manchester United. Now, I don't know if that club is Liverpool. I don't know if that club is West Ham. My assumption would be West Ham. I think Liverpool felt that Slot suited the system more. I'm not sure. But I think he did reject Liverpool, but I'm not 100% sure on that. He did 100% reject West Ham. There was a lot of clubs out there he rejected, and you've got to remember this. Manchester City had him as their manager to replace Pep Guardiola at the end of the season. City will deny this. They will pretend they were never interested in him. But they had Amorim as who they wanted to replace Pep at the end of the year. They did. And they will pretend they never were interested in him, but we all know that. And you know one thing about the Amorim addition that excites me the most? You know, head coach, not manager of Manchester United, but what really excites me is Omar Brada, Dan Ashworth and Wilcox appointed this guy. 3 of the smartest minds in football appointed this guy. And people will say, look, it's another flop. You know, they all flop at United. But this time we've got one of the smartest minds in football appointing him. And rather than working with idiots who will spend 85 million on Anthony, he's not going to be doing the transfers. He's going to be letting the experts do the work. And it's a different role as head coach. But anyway, let's dive into Amorim's interview. At the start of the season, I talked to the president and said, whatever happens, this is my last season at Sporting. The season started very well, they're top of the league, and then Man United appeared and paid the clause. I never argued with the president, is what he said, Amorim. Amorim then said, I asked United if it could be the end of the season. It was what I wanted. And Man United said, no, it was now or never. So I had to make a decision. This is exactly the context I wanted. United struggling, so I could do things my way. He took over Sporting when they were struggling. He did things his way. And 30 months later, he delivered them their first league title in 19 years. What Amorim is essentially saying is, look, he loves Sporting, he didn't want to leave, but when Man United come in, he cannot say no. They came in, they paid the clause. He said, you know what, I'm going to Manchester United. This is what I want. He could not say no, and he said, now United are struggling. I get what I want because I can implement things my way. I can change the club my way. And one thing Amorim has done is he's changed clubs, he's transformed clubs, and very quickly he's won trophies. Now, I think he's going to need time at United to adjust to this 3 at the back system. It's very different. But one thing Amorim has done is he's very quickly changed clubs. Very quickly. 13 months from Sporting being in their worst position. He wins them their first title in 19 years to end the Porto Benfica dominance. And he said it was a difficult decision to make, but he just couldn't say no. It was now or never. Ineos wanted someone now. And, you know, we know why Ineos wanted someone now. I'm excited to have Ruben Amorim for just another 3 games and he coming in the international break, so he's got a bit of time to assess and work with the players, but it's really exciting. He then was asked if he could be the first Man United manager to turn around after Sir Alex Ferguson, and after so many have tried after Sir Alex Ferguson, if he can be the first manager to turn United around. And he said, I understand why you asked the question, but tonight I would like to explain the Sporting blah, 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 this process. We'll have time for those questions on the 11th. He's going to answer more questions about how he's going to turn Manchester United around on the 11th. So we'll do another video like this on the 11th. But he did say, it was an extraordinary and enticing challenge that I could not refuse. And one thing about Ruben Amorim is he likes a challenge. He loves to coach. He's passionate about it. He likes a challenge, and he succeeded in all of his challenges. He said, I would have been leaving at the end of the season come May anyway. So the only thing that happened is that my departure has been brought forward. He loves Sporting. He was going to be leaving in May, but he doesn't want to wait till May because a club like Man United might not come in for him in May. He knows that in May there might not be as good a clubs coming for him, you know, maybe Manchester City, but actually, if you're a manager, you know at City, you're going to get an easy job, you're going to get support. But you know, at United, you're going to get the fans. You're going to be at one of the top 3 biggest clubs in the world. And I think that's what entices him so much about United. He has a clause in his contract for United, Real Madrid and Barcelona, I believe, which means it's cheaper for them to come and get him. And if you don't know Ruben Amorim, he did his first internship in coaching under Mourinho at United. The first bit of coaching work he did was at United as an internship under Mourinho. So he does have ties to Manchester United. And obviously, Mourinho spoke very positive about him. Ruben Amorim said this: "I'm going to take my coaching staff with me. We've been together since Casapia. It was one of my conditions. The big question is, does Ruud van Nistelrooy stay on? I hope Ruud at least stays on to the end of the season, but I understand completely bringing in all of Amorim's coaches. It was his condition. They've been with him since day dot." He said there's rumours on a player's revolt that he's joining United. So this is a sporting player revolt. And he said, no, there was no revolt within the sporting players. They were sad. I felt a different atmosphere. Some of them have been with me for 5 years. I have a strong relationship with them, but until the Braga came, I'm their boss and they know it. He said, I'm not going to come for any sporting player in January. Those years at sporting have been the best of my life. Everyone knows how much I love to hear, but it's not farewell yet. So we're not going to go and sign any sporting player in January. I think in the summer is when we'll spend big. I think in January it could be a left wing back. It could be maybe another player centre back midfield. I think maybe a left wing back and maybe someone in midfield. If we're going to do anything in January, I think it'd be a left wing back. I think in the summer is when we may go for someone from Sporting. Ousmane Diamonde. We looked at Inacio last summer. Hulman, Gyökeres. I think it would be one of those players. If we went for someone at Sporting, that's when I think we'd have a look at someone from Sporting. That would be come the summer. I think Sporting are like, please don't raid us in January. You've took our manager, don't raid us in January. And that's absolutely fair. Continuing on, Amorim said if he was asked if he's spoken to United players, he said, I haven't spoken to anyone. I'm totally focused here on Sporting. He's very professional. He's not the head coach yet. He's not going to speak to anyone. And then he's got the 2-week international break to speak to people and assess. He probably still did a bit of work behind the scenes speaking about United players, but he's not spoke to anyone. Amorim said a club like United came forward and I knew if I refused it, it would no longer be possible to go there in 6 months. And I knew that in 6 months, would no longer be at Sporting. It was the only club I wanted and that's what motivated me. There was a moment when I had to make the decision and I did it. And it was Barcelona, Real Madrid and Man United, which are the 3 clubs he apparently had a clause in. So United has always seen as his dream job. It was also said that he'd rather manage in England than Spain. So the biggest club in England, a club that he wants to completely rebuild, a club that he's worked at before, Man United is seen as Amorim's dream club, which is really, really exciting as well. Victor Gyökeres spoke out and said, we are sad that he's leaving. He has done an extraordinary job here. We all wish him the best to follow him. He said, to follow him to Manchester, I don't know. I'm here. I like it here. I don't think about that. He never said no. He said, I don't know. I think Gyökeres is one to look at in summer, but I think if Højlund gets off the mark, we probably won't look at Gyökeres. I think we will look more at, centre-backs, wing-backs, balance in the midfield. Continuing on, and maybe a winger that can play as an attacking midfielder. It was said that Manchester United have not played a role in the race for Victor Gyökeres yet. However, with the appointment of Ruben Amorim, it is possible that United will become involved soon. Sources believe this will happen as Amorim is a big fan of Gyökeres. So, look, I'd love Victor Gyökeres, but if Højlund gets off the mark, I think he could become our own Victor Gyökeres, which will be interesting to see how that goes down. And I think the transfer window is going to be exciting. I think January we will do business. I think the last 3 or 4 January windows we've expected United to do nothing, but we've been told even before we knew Amorim was coming in back in September, October, that Ineos were willing to do business in January. It won't be anything massive, but it could be 1 or 2 smaller signings. If we can sell anyone in January, we want to offload Anthony, potentially more. We know that Ineos are looking at a couple names in the January window. I think there could be a signing, maybe 2 in January, but I think the summer's when we'll spend big on players. And then, obviously, lastly, Erik ten Hag, came out from SCG, wrote a letter to the fans that I'm going to read out here. Dear fans, let me start by thanking you. Thank you for always being there for the club. Whether it was away at Old Trafford, your support has been unwavering. The atmosphere at Old Trafford has always been electrifying. Thank you. I felt on so many occasions, similarly during away matches, this team and I have experienced an incredible feeling, hearing the chants, fill the opposing stadiums, whether in England, in Europe, or on summer tours. I always loved meeting you all over the world, walking the streets and being able to chat to fans from England, Europe, Asia, Australia, and the United States. That's what makes Manchester United fans so special. I would like to thank you for supporting me. I would also like to thank the staff in all departments of the club for the unwavering support in the good times and bad. We won 2 trophies, accomplishments I would cherish for the rest of my life. Of course, my dream was to fill the trophy cabinets even more. Unfortunately, that dream comes to an end. I wish Manchester United fans nothing but success and trophies. The support and kindness I've received from everyone has helped me at home. thank you for this chapter. And it's sad that it had to end so badly with Eric Ten Hag, because I think there was quite a promising start when Eric Ten Hag came to Manchester United, but he can leave knowing that he won 2 trophies, and that's something we can't take away from him. So best of luck with Eric, and obviously let's hope that Amorim is the guy that delivers that first Premier League. Thank you for watching. Bye.